Well, hello, and good evening, everybody. Y'all come on in here. Join me, your girl, uh, on I Am a Morning Coffee. I'm ready to have a conversation. This will not be a long conversation, but this is Vision and Voices. Assignments aren't for the faint. So I said that I was going to do a live, and I was going to talk about being a visionary and being on assignment and all that fun stuff. And so I wanted to have a very real and raw conversation because I'm in the midst of doing something and planning something that has been it's been hard. Just being real. And I want some folks that really like know they're on assignment and they need some confirmation about some things. So I'm gonna talk real raw and real. Not that I haven't before, but I really feel like there's someone that needs to hear my experience so that your faith can either come up or you can understand what you're going through. You're not by yourself because sometimes it can feel real lonely because people don't want to talk about. Anyway, go ahead and like and share and tag, and then we'll get into it. So let's start there. Let's go ahead and do that. Come on in the room. Who's here? Who is present with me? Uh, Let me go in here and make sure, because for some reason, I'm not sure if it shows up on my. Okay, yes, it is showing up on my page. So if you all can come on in here, like, share, tag, because again, I can't be here long. I have to get back to the gym. I left the gym so I can go do a session with a client, and then because why, I'm a therapist, love that. And then I'm gonna do this show, and then I'm gonna run. So, y'all come on in and let me know who is here on this good evening so we can talk about vision and talk about um talk about the stuff that's not in the handbooks. There's some stuff that I'm just experiencing, or I have experienced that's not in the handbooks. So, who do I have here? Who do I have here? Matter of fact, I am going to post the flyer and say, "Hey, y'all, we live. We are live in the room." Mhm. I hope everybody's day was absolutely amazing. Uh, I think I put Olivia. There you are. Can you like and share and tag for me? I would greatly appreciate it. Matter of fact, I'll be bringing you on in just a bit. I really have to leave like at 9. Like I got to shut this down at 9 o'clock. But y'all come on in, like, share, tag, because I really feel like this is gonna bless, and I'm not keeping it up. And the reason why I'm not keeping it up is because I'm there are some people that will use um there are some people that will use realness against you, and I'm not interested in that. So I'll probably more than likely be taking this down. So thank you, Olivia. I greatly appreciate it. So if you can go ahead and like, share, and tag, I would greatly appreciate it. Um I want to talk about vision, and I want to talk about how real it is to make things happen and how it is not easy. And sometimes people make it look real easy. People make it look real simple. Like, snap your fingers. Oh, and by the way, I've been practicing my snaps all day, right? I have been practicing my snaps like all day, trying to get my fundraising snaps together. I think I do pretty good. We gonna see how that works. Hey, Jalen, how are you? I know I gotta catch you up on so much. Oh gosh, that has transpired. Yes, the snaps. I gotta get the snaps. I got this. But listen, seriously, like, this is for anybody like that has a vision. Matter of fact, Jalen, if you're able to come on, I would greatly appreciate it because I know if anybody can talk about vision and pivoting and all of that, that Jalen got the receipts for that. And so it's 8:37. Let me just go ahead. Yeah, the snaps. So let me just go ahead and hop in. First of all, on October 26th at 10 o'clock. I'm super excited because I'm about to host. The Lord saw fit for the Sister Hype Squad experience to be assigned to me. Adelia Johnson. he was like Adelia Johnson, Sister Hype Squad, come on down. And that's how I'm beginning to see assignments. I'm beginning to see them as very unique and privileged opportunities. God specifically chose me. Whew, girl, and the baby is big. Do you hear me? The baby's big. All right, Jayla, I'm gonna send you the link. And I'm gonna send Olivia the link. And I want both of you all to come in. I'm gonna send it through Facebook. But and I'll bring y'all on. But it's not like I'm beginning to really look at it, and perspective matters, right? All of that matters. And so I'm really beginning to look at it as though it's like God calls your name and like calls you down and say, hey, this vision is for you, and I expect for you to be able to execute this vision appropriately. I expect for you to carry this out because I assigned it to you. And so that's how I've been feeling. Sometimes it feels as though there's a crushing that comes along with this whole visionary thing. And I'll bring y'all in a minute. You just I'm gonna keep you in the virtual back room for just a second. So I'm just gonna run through this real quick because I can't take all night. So for those that have anything that they're assigned to, and God calls you on down like you want a car on the Price is Right, and says, "Hey, I assigned this thing to you." So for me, He assigned me the Sister Hype Squad brunch. Hey, Marquez, it's good to see you. He assigned me the Sister Hype Squad brunch. Adelia, come on down. And so you look at this, you look at the end game, right? You look at all these women in the room, and you look at all the big LED screen, and you look at all the pretty things, and you look at you see the food, and you see the people supporting and all of that. What you don't see is how many times somebody wanted to quit. What you don't see, and I promise you I'm taking this live down, but what you don't see is people wanting to like throw the towel in. Do you know how double-minded I've been about this brunch? And it's hear me, I'm thankful that the Lord called me to do this. I'm grateful that the Lord called me to do this, but it has not been easy. This has been every theme that the Lord has given me as far as the Sister Hype Squad brunch is concerned has been I had to walk through it first. So I'm not gonna lie. When God gives me a theme or something like that, I get a little nervous because I'm like, I'm gonna have to go through this. I'm gonna have to walk through this because I'm going to have to be a credible witness to this thing that God is telling me to birth. Hey, Montana, I'm so happy to see you. Thank you so much, Angela, for sharing from Philly. I greatly appreciate you. So I was talking to my cousin the other day, and she told me, that we're not to bear false witness. Let me find that scripture. Uh, hold on. All right. Let me see if I can find this scripture real quick. Um, Exodus 20:16, that thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. So when I read that and I think about not bearing false witness, right? If we're not if the Lord says in his word that we're not to, meaning in other words, you don't need to be lying about what it is that you're going through or experiencing. And maybe a Bible scholar can probably interpret that a whole lot better than I can. But right now, in this particular moment, in this phase of my building this Sister Hype Squad brunch, when God says that we can't bear false witness, then evidently that means, and follow me here, that must mean that I have to have a testimony in order to make me credible for somebody to for me to testify. I hope that's making sense. God can't lie. So in order for me to say that Return of the Roar is this, and God says that is this, I can't be made out to be a liar. So that means that my roar has to be challenged. You feel what I'm saying? God has when he gave me I am for last year, that's because I was in this process of redefining who I was in Christ and who God has called me to be. I had to walk through that and it was hard. I lost my uncle who I was very close to, had been there since my son was a baby. Okay, I lost him in May suddenly to a to a massive heart attack, and I had to sit in the garage with his body until the medical examiner's office did whatever it is that they were going to do. And I'm walking. I'm walking. I want you to walk this journey with me, okay? Um, and Lord, you want me to do return? You want me to plan a whole brunch? Then here comes August 31st. I lose one of the closest people to me, Iris, which was a mentor and all of that to me. And I said, you know what? I quit. And I quit like 30 times, y'all. I'm like, God, I'm not doing this. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm emotionally drained. I don't have it to give. But let me tell you what God showed me in all of this. And I'm going to bring Jalen on first. And then I'll bring Olivia on first. And then I'll bring Jalen on. Let me tell you what God said to me. He said to me, that I'm going to be God, and he told me to go forward because I was legit working on, like, let me tell you what I did. I'm just walking you through. I went back and watched when Pastor Moore had to unfortunately reschedule, um, had to reschedule YLC in 2020 because of the pandemic. I went back and studied that video. I studied how he delivered the message because I said, how in the world do I cancel this? How do I just I felt relieved knowing that I wanted to cancel, but I didn't feel peace. I felt relief, but I didn't feel peace. And so I said, "You know what? God, you're going to have to do this." I it was almost like I just relinquished it and really stopped caring. Like if I could just be honest. Hey Jasmine, it's so good to see you. So I almost stopped caring because I'm fighting through like being feeling depressed and grief and all this other stuff, and I just really wanted to stop, and God wouldn't let me. And I talked to Dr. Matisa, and she prayed for me, and there's a lot of gaps. Just know that it was really really hard. Just know that the funding isn't funding right, because we have so much going on in our nation. I am very 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 sensitive to the fact that we are in an election year. We have a female president, or that's coming, right? We have a female, the possibility of a female president for the first time ever in our country. We've had two major natural disasters. um I lost two people. There's just a lot happening. And so I understand, on the priority list in your budget or whatever, a conference may not be on the top of it. But let me tell you something. The Sister Hype Squad experience is for who it's for. Initially, I was caught up with the numbers and the attendees. If anybody's throwing anything, you feel me. And then, matter of fact, Olivia, I'm gonna bring Jalen in, and then I'll bring you in. Hey, Jalen.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, hey. So I'm gonna just share this, and then I want you to jump in. But I was relying heavy on ticket sales, and when ticket sales weren't ticketing, I was like, "Well, we got to cover the budget." And my pastor just told me that, we need to work on this ministry mogul thing, and don't let the two conflict, right? And so now I'm like, I don't know what to do. It's getting closer to the date. I have pulled out all the stops. I've done everything that I know to do. And Jalen, I wanted to let it go. Facebook, I wanted to let it go. But here we
Mhm.
are on October 16th, and more things have happened to bring this brunch together in the last 3 days than it has over the course of the entire year that ticket sales have been open. And so I say all of that to say, God don't need much time. And honestly, we could use your support. I've been working on my snap all day. So so
Even now.
Yeah, right, here you go. So if you wanna support, I'm telling you that we need it. And so the information is in the ticker there. Thank you to everybody that threw advice at this, through funds at this, through support at this, through prayer at this. I don't take that lightly, and you better believe I know how to say thank you. And so I'm gonna make sure that I do that. Jalen has been walking with me, advising me, helping me strategize, and I greatly appreciate you. But Jalen, just share with the people about vision and what it means to pivot and what it means to sometimes it's not going to be what you look like, but that doesn't mean that God changed his mind about what it is that he called you to do.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you
It
for
was
coming.
fair at the moment, but thank you. Um,
But actually I like that. I prefer that.
uh-huh,
Like I
yeah,
prefer that raw, real, like did nobody prepare for this? No,
right,
these are real true emotions and feelings
true,
and thoughts that we're talking about. And
yeah,
I expect and I believe that God is here in this moment because there are people that are having dreams and visions and there's stuff that they're trying to do. And when it get hard,
mhm,
they want to quit.
yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I had to. This didn't really happen for me until this year. I truly, and this gonna sound crazy, but I truly fell in love with the process
Mm,
and the downs.
really? Say
Fell
that
in love
again,
with it.
Jay.
So I fell in love with the process and the downs because it got to a point to where I started literally looking like, yeah, the Bible says to, I mean, we talk about expecting the best, but prepare for the worst. I started expecting the worst because I'm like, well, if this is gonna happen. And I started looking at it, like, well, I needed because I did sales when I first moved to Atlanta. I worked in sales,
Hmm.
and they had this saying, you got to get 100 no's before you get to a yes.
Yes.
So if they say it takes like 100 no's, so you know that if I need to get talk to 100 people to hear no, and sometimes you would get your yes on the second one. So it's
Hmm.
like, dang, I might get some more yeses in this 100. So
Mm.
you start looking, and I started adapting that mindset. I started falling in love and expecting, okay, the no. Okay, great. So that way, when it does happen, I'm not really shaken by it. And I
Mm.
started really following the process because you start also seeing every single no, every single thing that didn't go your way. So it might not make sense then, but so much time later on, you start to say, okay, it was good that it happened. It was good.
Mhm.
It was good that that happened. And sometimes, I've learned it's better. I prayed this when I was young. I said, God, please let me have my financial issues. Let me have that when I'm young. I'm gonna do. I'll
Mm.
do something else, but I want to do. I was like, let me have. So I started let's get some of the worst things out of the way.
Yeah, now
And
that's
because
good.
those little small things that back in 2022, I had that was the first event I had that failed.
Mhm.
I mean,
Wow.
we don't even say. I guess I won't say failed, but that was the first event that was not the way I thought it would be. I had literally just did an event that was completely sold out, so sold out to the point where I was literally asking the venue, "Could y'all possibly let us get some more tables and chairs?" Because I got people who are literally the day of
What?
the event at the event. Because what happened is people get into the event and they're like, "Oh shoot, this thing is really going on." So then they're going live. So people are living their lives like, "Hey, can I still buy a ticket?" So they coming to me, Jalen, my friend,
The
trying to get
day
in
of?
the day of the event.
That's
And the
crazy.
deal, when I tell you I had to turn away money, because I literally was like, "There's nowhere for me to put you." And I mean, at this point, you would just be standing.
Right. Were they
So
still willing to come in?
I I was like, there's no more,
Yeah, because you
ain't no more
executed
room.
excellence. I
Yeah,
feel you.
because we had already added more tables.
Mhm.
Um, Before the event happened, I had already added more. So like, literally, the room was full. So I was like, yeah, they're gonna have to just come on the next one. But at the same time, it's good because it creates that scarcity, and people like, man, I have to come to the next one. So here I am. I just got done doing this amazing sold out event, and I said, okay, we coming back in December. I choose December 3rd, and I expect tickets to be slow. That's part of it. It's part of the
Yeah.
process. I'm like, okay, here we are a week, and it was still only 10 tickets sold the week of the event.
Oh, wow.
And what's crazy is
Really?
with a headliner,
What the Hold on, let
with
me make
a
sure I
headliner.
understand. So you mean to tell me 2 you had 10 tickets the week of the event. How in the world did you handle that?
How? And I said, okay, because this is what made it worse. there were several events going on December 3rd. And it's like we all posted ours at the same time. And a lot of people who wanted to come to mine, they had to go to the other event. They was like, man, I really want to come. But this was like some type of ceremony thing. So they really had to go. So some people sent money and all that stuff in their absence. But I'm expecting 300 people. Expecting 300 people. I said, you know what? I said, we're going bigger. The budget, because, you know, we just did this one. I pushed the budget up. I said, this is going to be, I flew people in. We had a 6 or 7 piece band, BGVs. It was like, I had a whole praise team. It was like 8 people up there. Everybody got paid, sound man, cameras, all this stuff, the biggest one. And it was the biggest disaster. And I still had, and then while this is happening, somewhere out of nowhere, I get sick. So here I am. I'm supposed to be singing tonight. My voice is going. All this is happening in one night. And then I also made a promise that I was paying bills at the concert. So here I am. Yeah, so here I am. I'm like, okay, I'm a man of my word. And I said, you know, we're still going to do it. So put the most in and got the least amount out. And it took me so long to want to do something again after that. I said, I'm done with Florida. I'm sorry, but Florida, y'all can kiss my behind.
Right.
And it really got to that point.
But hold on, because I want to process something for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how many people showed up to that event.
It was like 46.
And you had budgeted for 300. You had paid out all these people.
Adelia, I had a whole VIP lounge.
And not all of the 46 people had VIP.
It probably was like 15 people had VIP. When the headliner got there, I said, well, y'all can enjoy the refreshments. It was him, and, you know, he had his team band. I said, yeah, y'all can enjoy some refreshments, because we really, and, you know, so you spending money on the food for the VIP lounge, all these different things.
I'm going to bring Olivia in, but keep talking.
Yeah, all these different things. And it was like, you know, so, but you hey, what's up, sis? So yeah, you have to bring all these different things in.
I warned you and said I was bringing Olivia in.
See, you hear that part?
Can I bring you back? Let me know when I can bring you back. I can bring you back? Nod your head if I can bring you back. I can bring you back. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jayla. Yes. So you like Florida, kiss my behind.
Yeah, Florida kiss my behind. You know, it got to that point, but it was so long before I wanted to do something again. And then I finally was like, okay, let's just do it. You know, and I had to embrace that. You know, and I think about, you know, for those who know, I get to work with Tyler Perry a few times. What's that way? This dog. But I get to you know, working, and I go back to remembering him planning for 1,200 people to show up at this play, and only 30 people showed up. And some of those tickets were family members, so those was given away.
Oh,
so you know, you think about that, and it's all part of the process. And I just remember I had a pretty good upbringing. Like my parents were not rich or anything, but I had a pretty good upbringing. I was like, well, I didn't really go through it. Like, I had some deaths, and, you know, very close deaths to me, things like that. But I said, Jaylee, I thought about it, I said, you got to have some type of story to tell, man.
Wow.
If you're going to truly be able to help other people, you got to have some type of blueprint. Anybody with a blueprint that just shows nothing but wins and wins and wins, ain't nobody going to relate to that.
Right.
You know, they'll come listen to you once they get to that level. But how can you truly help people if you can't say, yeah, don't do that. I know not to do that again. So, you know, I really got to the point. I even told my mom this. My mom moved from Florida making 6 figures. Every single day that she was in the salon, she brought 4 figures home.
Yeah.
So, you know, going from that and then coming to Atlanta, and I'm talking about, I make more than my mama. So, you know, when it got to that point, it was like, okay. I tell you, and I had told my mom, I was like, Mom, I said, you have to remember he's making a blueprint out of you.
So there's,
because there was nothing I did, you know, for the longest, I thought that I did things wrong with that event, but it's just part of the plan. And that's why I said, truly fall in love with the process, and falling in love with every no, falling in love with every, when I tell you I was counting every seat that was not filled. Fall in
Wow.
love with every single part that did not go the way. And you start to really fall in love with it because now finally got to the point. For so long, I was like, man, I can't wait till I can do this. I finally got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good right where I'm
Really?
at. I don't want it to move no faster. Just how you
Wow.
just the way God, the pace that you are moving, I'm fine at that pace.
Mm,
And the more I started looking at it like that, that's when things really started changing. Like literally 2 weeks ago, someone had to pay me or something like that. And I had to go back. I said, "Did you pay me?" And it was like, "Yeah." They sent me the email. And I'm only saying this not to brag anything, but just to show it's like when the perspective changed, it's like you
yeah.
start to see things different. You don't even notice how much God is moving. But the person had paid me and Adelia, the money was in the account and I didn't even know it. I
Wow.
didn't even notice my account had moved. And I told one of my friends, we're both going through similar journeys, and I said, just take your hands off. Things that you can't control, don't worry about it. And
Mm.
I live by three things. Jeremiah 29:11, for the plans I have for you declares the Lord. He got
Yes,
a plan.
Lord.
So therefore, no matter out of all of this, I have something. He has a plan. Then there's
Yeah.
Romans 8:28. He gonna make everything work together for my good. And then First Peter 5:7. Even when all hell is going on, cast all your cares on him. And I just live by them two
Wow.
things. And it's like once
Wow,
that you got
Jalen.
that, you just enjoy the process. Enjoy it. Because you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that just man. Okay, you left me speechless. I am not in love with the process yet. I'ma just be real.
For
I'm not.
real. Yeah.
Probably because I'm in the midst of it. You know what I'm saying? But what I will say is you're right in the sense of since I kind of backed off of the pressure of I guess my goals,
Mhm.
things start opening up and favor started finding me. And I prayed that prayer, not that I hadn't been praying it before, but I've been praying it for like I guess a bit more I don't know, genuinely.
Mhm.
Lord, bring my money up or bring the price down.
Right.
And I've seen it in real life. Like I've seen how God has started moving, and mind you, it has only been like 2 days since I kind of got to that place where I'm like God, you know what, this is gonna look how you want it to look,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be done in excellence because you know that's how I feel. You know I want to represent you well, and
Right.
once I took my hands off of it, literally, like like you told me to pivot with certain things, like and just being honest with certain vendors and things of that nature. Like I'm not gonna be able to do that, or I'm not gonna be able to, or to pay this, or blah 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 blah. The prices start going down
Mhm.
and favor, you know what I'm saying, just start stepping in the door, and it's been crazy. And if I can be honest, I was like, I'm not doing this next year. Like how you were with Florida, it wasn't so much like I'm done with the Sister Hype Squad. Like I have no problem like working on build a community or whatever, but whatever
Right.
I do is gonna have to be free. Because I don't like harping on like money and budget and ticket sales because I feel like it takes my focus away from the people and from the people in the room. But it was interesting because God was like, if you spent more time praying for the people that are gonna be in the room, I'll make sure everything else fall in line. Because I
Mhm.
also think about my experience, and then I'm gonna kick it over to Olivia. I also think about my experience when I went to Uganda, where I didn't have to. And again, I'm deleting this because this is just real. When I went to Uganda, Jalen and Olivia, and Camille, I sent you the link to your Facebook inbox if you want to come in. Um, we were on a concrete dirt floor. I had on clothes that were comfortable because I was in Africa. It was hot, you know. I didn't dress up. I had my hair in braids. It wasn't none fancy. I didn't have on no makeup. And these women received. They don't even. A lot of them didn't even speak English, and they were edified. They were excited, and this was over 50 women and their children. You feel what I'm saying? And they got these gifts. And the next day, after the hype squad in Uganda, I saw them using the bags, like their stuff, like the gifts came in as like bags, like they were carrying things in it. They had on their bracelets, they were carrying their journals, and they was just like full of gratitude, like thankful, thankful, thankful. And it's not a compare and contrast, but it dawned on me sometimes what the expectations are, how the expectations that we put on ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And so I think I put so much expectation on myself. Oh, it gotta look this way. It's gotta do this. It gotta be that. But God was like, do you see what you did? Like, do you see what I did for you? Do you
Mhm.
see where I placed you? The second year that you did the Sister High Squad brunch, you went international. I did that. And so I don't care if you don't have one decoration for the Sister Hype Squad brunch on October 26th. I'm still gonna show up. And nobody's going to miss me. And that was the biggest thing. That God was like, nobody's gonna miss me. And the people that are showing up, they're coming for me because I have something for them. And there's an exchange that's gonna take place. And if you spent more time praying for them and praying for what needs to happen in the room, then I can move.
Mhm.
And so I had to shut up. And so I'm thankful because people have been sewing. Like, and someone sent $1,000 this morning. And
Mhm.
I immediately threw that at a you know what I'm saying, at one of the budget items. $25 was coming in, $25 here, 100 here, 50 here. So I threw it at the budget, and I'm seeing it chopped down. And I'm like, only God can do this. And so anybody that's watching, I'm being real. If you can sponsor or donate, $25. That's it. It's all. That's it. If you want to do more, and the Lord leads you to do more, I'm thankful for more. But $25 is feasible. You know, people can do that. So
Somebody wanna sell 25,000.
sold the 25,000, sold the 2,500,
Even now.
25,000, $250. Even now, been practicing my snap all day. So all right, so I'm gonna bring Camille in. Jayla, if you want to hang out, you can. If you gotta go, and that's cool. But I'm gonna bring Olivia over and let her speak her piece, and then we're gonna bring Camille over, and then I gotta run out of here by like 9:15. So Olivia,
Hey.
you hey, so you have had
Woo.
so
I
girl,
love you,
you
girl, for
look
me look like
beautiful.
pebbles from the Flintstones.
You look beautiful because you're one of our speakers, and
Bless
this is what you're
God.
gonna be talking about. So
Yeah.
so yeah, just similar to what Jalen shared. I'm sure that you've had some things that you thought was gonna go one way and it went
Hmm.
another, as far as vision is concerned. Why don't you share
Yeah.
that with us?
I could just talk about I guess with me being an author, that could be one
Okay.
thing. You know how you can have ideas of how you want things to go.
Hmm.
Like with you and budgeting, you know about that. How much it's going to cost you to do certain things. Being a creative is not cheap.
Mm,
it takes
it's
work.
not.
It takes funds. It takes resources, and just being able to, like Jalen was talking about, making sure that you pay everybody because you want to make sure that you do things professionally. And like sis Camille always say, standing on business. Like you have to, it's business. Like I don't
Hmm.
care what type of relationship you may have with someone. At the end of the day, it's about business. But just being able to execute what I have, like with the vision I have, because you can have a vision, then like people around you may have a vision, and they may say, well, maybe you should do this or maybe you should do that, but you really have to stick to what God has given you and what God has shown you,
Mm,
because He didn't give the vision to them, He gave the vision to you.
yeah.
So you know what I'm saying, because if you, not saying you can't trust people's word, not saying that at all, but if you go against what God has told you, it's like you telling God, I don't believe you, I don't believe what you told me.
Ooh, yeah.
And and just learning how to
Yeah.
really just, I'm learning that even now, not even just in the business sense, but in other areas of my life. Like I'm like, okay, God, this is what you showed me, this is what you said, so I need to do exactly what what you told me to do. So just really learning
Hmm.
how to pivot through that, even as a plus size influencer. Like I'll talk about that next week, but just really learning how to walk that journey. um because you can look at other people and
Yeah.
try to glean from them, but you're like, no, that's not what God has called me to do. I can look at
Hmm.
you and get ideas, but
Hmm.
really owning who you are. That's a way of
Mm,
pivoting as well.
I
Owning who
like
you
that.
are.
Hmm.
Um, because You have to embrace who you are. You have to embrace the gift. First of all, you have to accept the gift that God has given you. That's the first thing. Because sometimes we
Mm,
don't want to accept what God has placed in our lives because we don't think that we're worthy enough.
wow.
We don't have that confidence in us, in
Yeah.
ourselves to carry it out because it's like, Lord, you sure you want me? Like me? Like I'm not
Hmm.
worthy enough to do what you have called me to do. I'm just me.
Yeah.
Like no,
Wow.
and it's just like Jay just said, like Jeremiah 29:11, I know the plans that I have for you, says the
Hmm.
Lord, to give you peace, hope and expect the end. And one of my favorite scriptures is from Jeremiah 33:3. Call to
Hmm.
me and I will answer you and I will show you great and mighty
Oh,
things
I
that you did
love
not
that.
know. And so
Yeah.
that's like been one of the great scriptures that I keep ahead of myself. And like, First Corinthians what 2 and let me see, look at my board. 2 Corinthians 1:20. I'm sorry. For all
Yeah.
the promises in Him are yes and amen. So
Hmm.
whatever He has promised in our lives, like it's going to happen. So that's my way of pivoting. Just really tapping back into what God has told me and to walk in it, and
Yeah.
to, like I told you like a few months ago, like not to meow but to roar,
Yeah.
because life has been lifing lately, and I know it's been
Woo!
lifing for
Right. Yes,
everybody.
Camille. Arr.
Like you want to just go like, because it's just
Yeah.
like so many things has been going on, but like yeah, like
Yeah.
but it's like just learning how to roar. And I will say, Adelia, the closer that it gets to next week, the harder the fight is to keep roaring. So I
Mm,
know that like God has something to say.
yeah.
Like he's gonna do his thing next week, and I'm just excited, and I'm just excited for how God is doing His thing in you,
Hmm.
and for you this week. Just hearing your testimony about how what God has done in the last 48 hours, like you
Yes.
said, God doesn't need a
Yes.
timetable, but we have it. We always say, okay, God, we gotta do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and God is
Right.
just like sitting back,
D-
just like let
And,
this
and
wait.
and sometimes, and I'm about to pass it to Camille. Thank you so much, Olivia. You're more than
Absolutely.
welcome to stay.
Okay.
But what I love about what God has done is interesting because you said that you gotta stay true to yourself, right? And I think in doing things like this, you have to find and establish your identity in all of it. Like, where do I fall? Right? Because when you think about the first and second year, I emceed technically both years, and it was a lot. It was too much, to be honest. Because Jalen saw me the second year, I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I didn't know whether I was going left or right, and I couldn't fully engage in the experience because I was doing everything. And so this year, and that's what I guess kind of feels crazy too, is like I put so much, poured so much, invested so much like into like really marketing this. And I felt as though that I wasn't gaining the return back. But God was like, no, I don't care if you have like 50 something women. Next year you could end up with 1,000 because of everything that you sold this year. And so I'm like, all right. So when I let go of, well, God, I didn't get 200 women, or God, I didn't, da, 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 da. And then I start tearing myself apart. When God got me together, and He was like, "Is this yours or is it mine?" So I really don't care if 3 women showed up. Did I tell you to do it? Yeah, you did. Okay. So are you calling me a liar? Is the question. And then I had to be like, well, no, because you did tell me to do it. Because if you didn't tell me to do it, I would have been unquit. And so even with that, like the scriptures that you all shared that has blessed me so. But again, I think a lot of things have just been clouded, like in the midst of grief and a whole bunch of other stuff. And what I realized, and I'll share more about this at the brunch, there has been people like Camille, everybody on here, Jalen, you, Olivia, Dr. Matisa, and I'm not gonna name everybody because I know I'll forget somebody's name. Charge my head, and not my heart. There have been people that I felt like have just been kind of standing there, holding my voice and coaching me, like through losing my roar, like and losing my voice, like you have to sometimes go through therapy to get your voice back. and you have to do exercises to keep your voice strong. God is really speaking to me. But you have to work it. You have to work your voice. Jalen sings, right? You got to do exercises and stuff to keep your voice, what it to make it do what it needs to do. If you don't work the voice, if you don't exercise the voice, if the voice isn't challenged, then hey, Ebony, it's good to see you. Then number one, you'll never know the strength of it. And number two, I've also learned the power of collaboration. Like I'm guilty. Okay, I'll admit it. Here, my name is Adelia, and I am a do-it-myself addict. I want to do it all myself. I don't want to trust it with nobody. Destiny was another person. Oh my God. Destiny, Destiny, Destiny. She came in and swooped in and was like, girl, you need an administrator, and it's gonna be me. And so she has really blessed me through her administrative services, helping me with vendors, all of that. Like she has been phenomenal. But I'm gonna pass it on to Camille, so we can go ahead and wrap up. But yeah, like it's been interesting. The testimony that I'm gonna have though, and it's not about my testimony per se. It's about the women. It's about those ladies. Mind y'all, I think I also lost a sense of gratitude, because God reminded me, I'm the one that has that has 50 plus you women in Uganda that are gonna be tuning in. That was me, right? And I'm like, wow. Okay. So technically, even if I have, because right now I'm projecting 75 women, it's 75 plus 50. But it's not about the numbers. It's about the hearts, and it's about the minds that I've entrusted to you in that moment. And so, anyway, go ahead, take it away, Camille.
Yeah, I apologize for being late. The speaker podcast, we had an episode tonight alive. So
I mean, you're an award-winning podcaster. I'm just honored you took the time that was unscheduled to come on. I'm just saying, come on, Emmy award-winning
prophesy on my
podcast.
life, woman of God, let him use you. But just hopping, first of all, thank you for just thinking of me to join the space. Hey, Jalen. Hey, Olivia. Since we are giving out words, I have found Psalm 91 and 1 to be one of my things, and that I've learned power of the secret place. And in times
Mm,
where, as Olivia, this past week has been a rough week, and I had to step into my roar because I felt such a weight. And in an instant, I felt something rise up and say, "Oh, no, no, no! This is not what we're going to do." And prayer is a muscle, and so in that moment, a lot of times we're praying like, I need to pray today, but you don't also realize you have a reserve, like, breaking in case of emergency. And I was able
mm.
to tap into that and break my glass, and immediately,
Jesus.
was able to go to 1,000 real quick.
Yeah.
And and it's because that prayer is a muscle, and it being able to pull from that reserve. And so a lot of times we feel like, oh, this is a quiet season, it's slow right now, but you don't realize those Tuesdays and those moments of prayer and devotion, it adds up to like what I experienced over this past week, when you do have to break that glass and it is an emergency. And it's not
Mm.
that you're being disrespectful, but you don't have to go through all the accolades of, Lord, we just thank you right now. We just, like, you can just go right in
Right
and
in.
go right into the throne room because you need
Amen.
an immediate response. So in terms
Amen.
of vision, I went to Power to Live this summer, and then during consecration, and both of those services, being in the room with Pastor T. Renee Glenn, I got downloads for my brand. One
Mm.
being my e-course, the master plan, and then turn around and did Women Empowered Unleashed, an ebook. And I was talking with someone the other day, and within from June to, what was it, Olivia? We did the 30-day challenge. Was it September? I think it was
August,
August.
August.
From June to August, I released 3 digital products, 3 ebooks, a full
My
e-course, an
God.
ebook, and a digital bundle.
Mhm. Wow.
But, we spend so much money paying for master classes and these master courses, but did you ever ask the master? So it was in the presence of God in those worship experiences while I was worshiping, he downloaded into my spirit what to do because
Mm,
building for the future. And even right now, yesterday I started another project that I plan to release in 2025 Q1. And so when we really get into the space of worship, intercession, and prayer, not only for our spiritual selves, but he can give you downloads. And one of my prayers has been since I started the podcast, Lord, touch my innovation, touch my creativity, expand my intelligence. Because when I started the podcast, I was still active duty in the Navy. I had my own lash brand, Kamika Mink. I was doing makeup and lashes at the Stella Awards. This is not in my wheelhouse. What you all see right now, this was not in my wheelhouse.
wow,
That was the
Camille.
lash girl. I was the lash girl. I knew nothing about graphic design. All the designs you'll see on social media, I do that. I'm the Tyler Perry in my life, written, directed, starred. I do all of the things, right?
Right.
But I didn't realize these things were within me. But
Mm,
the moment he was like, start the podcast, I was on base. I went back to my barrack. I got some oil. I literally laid hands on myself and I said, God, if this is what you're wanting me to do, I was very, very specific in that prayer. When 1 hour, I had a podcast cover, I had my distributor set up within an hour. And within a week, I had
wow.
released my first episode.
Wow.
Didn't know what I was doing, but God literally he's continued to anoint my intelligence to do what you all see here. And to the
Amen.
point to where after I left the Navy, I went to grad school and got a master's in communication because I was like, if this is what I'm gonna do, then I need to honor God and take it seriously. I would even got a whole degree in this field so I could be more credible. Because a lot of people have a microphone, but I can say I went to school for communication.
Yeah, right. Right. Wow.
So I said all that to say, even with starting the podcast, I was like, God, why do you want me to do this? And it became a catapult, not only for healing for other people, but it opened the door for me to have more courage and be more courageous in the healing in my own life. And hearing the stories of other people gave me like, you know what? I can go chase Goliath down too.
Wow.
So
Wow.
there is power in the pivot, and a lot of times when God has you to do something, it's not always for you, it's for other people, but
That's right.
he's gonna make sure that you get something out of it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
That's all I
Mm.
have right now.
Right now, girl, you just preached a whole sermon. That's all I have right now. But no, Camille, thank you. Jalen, thank you. Olivia, thank you. Y'all really got me thinking about some stuff, like for real. I remember working at. Go ahead, Jalen.
Well, I want to say this real quick. Um, while we was talking about, dang, you were saying something right at the end when I got done about the fall in love with the process, and it reminded. I wanted to kind of came to me a little bit how life is just a big system, right? And the thing about systems, there's smaller systems working in those systems, and it's just a smaller version of the whole thing.
Ooh,
And each little thing runs the same way the bigger one does. So that those small things that don't go our way, when you have the $1 million questions and the $1 million problems, you're gonna go back to the $200 problems, and you can be like, it's the same devil, same devil. That's all. The devil, he got the same tricks.
that's
It's
good.
just
That's
he just threw a
good.
bigger party this time. That's all it
Right.
was.
Right.
But and I also want to say this one little thing. Everybody who is on this live, please tell somebody and tell everybody they need to be here because they're going to be a part of history. Truly being part of
Mm,
history. And you can truly say, I seen the beginning of this. I saw where she was questioning this. A lot of things, like we just mentioned Tyler Perry, and we mentioned all these other people. A lot of them have, stories that none of us really got to see. We saw the
yeah.
glory afterwards, but you
Right.
truly get to see this, and it allows you to be in the room for the same thing
Mm.
to happen for you. So get y'all tickets, y'all. That's all I got to say. Get y'all tickets. All right, I'm
Ooh.
gonna hush up.
I'm gonna say this and then we'll wrap up. And I don't think I've ever really shared this. I remember when I was working at Emory, um, I had quit my job, y'all, because I heard God say quit my job.
Mhm.
I quit my job, and this is right after I graduated. Right after I graduated, I quit my job with my master's degree. I quit my job, and I didn't work from, I think, from like May through like maybe November or something like that. And so I was kind of living off my retirement or whatever. The favor that God showed me during that time was, that's when I started tithing too. I started tithing during that time as well. So I started working at Emory in November, and God started downloading things into me, like vision, just these concepts and ideas. And so I just started, like, during my lunch break, I would sit in a break room and I would just type these things out and, do some research or whatever. People would come into the break room, see me working, and they'll be like, "Why aren't you eating? Or why aren't you, I don't know, talking to people and socializing and all this other stuff?" And I'm like, no, I gotta do some other stuff. What I realized after a few weeks of that, I started seeing other people around me starting to do the same thing. They started bringing their computers, they started sitting in the break room. Wasn't nobody really talking. Folks was like, "No, I have this idea," you know what I'm saying? Da-da-da. And I'm like, "Tell me about it." And so I'm like, "Yeah, you need to do that." And so it would turn into that. And I'll never forget this lady that her name was Renee. She said, "You're not gonna be here long." And I chuckled and laughed it off. And she was like, "No." She was like, it's something different about you." And she was like, I don't know, Oprah. And I was like, "What does that have to do with anything?" And she was
Mhm.
like, "I see Oprah on you." And I was just like, "I would like Oprah money, but I don't know, I don't know about Oprah." So let's fast forward to today. Me sitting in a break room, hashing out all these ideas, not knowing what they were going to be. They were seeds at the time. Um, and here God is, because I look back at some of those things that I wrote down, and they're happening and have happened throughout In My Morning Coffee. I did not know what it was. I had no idea. So when God starts downloading things into y'all or into whoever's watching this, you need to just take note that God's going to give it a body and a form at some point, because it's just like a baby. It starts like a seed, and it may just start like an idea, or it may just start as a word, and you write it down, and you have no idea what that thing is going to turn into. I guarantee you, I'm not sure if. And I always resort to, Pastor Moore, because he has such a powerful testimony. But let's even go to Tyler Perry, like you said, when he rented out that whole theater with 30 people. Who knew? Who knew? I have no idea what the Sister Hype Squad brunch is gonna be, or the experience is gonna be. I have no idea.
No
What I
idea.
do know is God has given it a body, and He's given it legs, and it's walking.
Mhm.
And it started as a seed. And here now, this baby is three, what? This is third one, is 3 years old, in very in a very, critical developmental stage. If you're not careful with that thing and you let it get into, stuff, like, you could kill it.
Mm.
You can't poison it.
Mhm.
You got to watch what it eats and watch. Oh man, God is talking so loud.
You
You got
know
to
what?
See,
watch
I
how you
wanna add
care
to that,
for it.
Adelia, right quick, when you said write it down, but we're in such a time of urgency. When he gives it to you, you have to begin to do it. You have to begin to do it the moment he gives it to you, because we're working on a shorter timetable than we did 20 years ago, just because of the state of the world, even if you look at it from a spiritual context. So when God gives you something, this is not the time to hee haw over it, roll it around, do it. Because we're in a
Yep.
time now, and we've heard it before, delayed obedience is still disobedience. And we're screaming,
Mhm.
"Oh, I heard confirmation." Confirmation is only because you didn't do what he said the first time. And we're
Mm,
in such a critical state. If you don't move and do it, he's gonna take it, remove it, and all the favor that comes along with obeying that, and he's gonna give it to someone else. And
mhm.
then 2 years, a year from now, you're gonna kick yourself and go, "Oh, I had that idea," and that won't be the time to say, "Well, I thought of it first," because we're moving that quickly. So
Yeah.
now when he's giving me ideas for ebooks or podcast episode, I'm moving, I'm
Mhm.
researching because there's such an urgency. Like I told Olivia when we did that challenge, and Olivia can tell you, I said, Olivia, I feel the an urgency to do this now,
Yeah.
even though maybe my platform is not as big as I want it to be or whatever. But there are certain things and systems I have to do now because we all go to the same church, we all have the same pastor. That oil is starting to y'all feel that drop
Ooh.
on you, it's coming
Yes.
down,
Yes.
and so when open heaven, when we're here, when it comes, that is not the time, "Oh, I need to get this, I need to create a template." Mm-mm.
Mm.
Mhm.
Mm.
Downtime is preparation time,
Yeah.
and right
Wow.
now, you got, like, 5 minutes on the clock
Right.
because
Mm.
what's happening. I don't know if you're watching the news. Things are shifting. There's We're in a time of a changing of the guard, and
Mhm.
there's gonna be some people that have been holding these spaces for so long, and
Yep.
there'll be people in the background, what we call the no-name people, and
Mhm.
it's gonna be like, "Oh, where did they come from? They
Yep.
just came out of nowhere." No, they didn't. They've been waiting, "Put me in, coach." And those
Ooh.
that are ready, they're
Mm.
gonna eat.
Yes. That's good, Camille.
That's all I have.
That's good. That's good. Any other closing remarks from anyone? No, that was good.
When you just said with the being in the third year, I remember one day I looked. I mean, I'm not that old, obviously, but one day I looked and I was like, "What is going on?" I have been at this thing, for 2, 3 years. Really, I mean, I've been in the industry longer than that, but as far as on the particular project and the different things I'm doing, I've been at this thing for a long time.
Yeah.
And literally one day it just clicked. I'm like 2, 3 years. When you look at something this long, 2, 3 years ain't nothing but this. And it's
Ooh.
like, what did you sacrifice? When you have the success, when you get to the point to where you're cashing the checks and the people are showing up, and all you got to do is put on a story. You ain't got to advertise that much. When you get to that point, you're gonna get to the point you have to look at what did I put in.
Yeah.
I've had God gonna give me 40+ years of great success, and
Mm.
I'm concerned about these 2, 4 to 5 years, whatever it takes to get it done. The people, I was telling my mama one day,
Oh,
I said, I look about in the Bible, how many times where people got punished or something, or they was told to wait and it was 40 years, and I'm crying about 2 and 3 of them.
yo.
So it's like,
Mm.
that's
That's
why I'm
good.
like, I enjoy the process because this is everything that I'm doing right now. You're just sowing. That's all this is right now. It's just sowing.
That is good.
That's all it is. And there was this
Mm.
one, I can't remember who it was, but it was this one pastor, and he was just saying, it's in the Bible as well, but we're not in charge of the results. We just do the
Wow.
work. God is in charge of the results.
Mm.
That's
I
it.
like that.
That's why it's like fall in love with it because this is nothing but everything that you do right now is nothing but just seeds for what you're trying to get to. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, if you know what God showed you, it's gonna be rough, it's gonna be tough. But in there, you know what God showed you. And there's been a couple of things that happened for me, but because I knew what God showed me, I didn't take it. It probably would have moved me quicker. But
Yeah.
it wouldn't have got me exactly where God showed me. And what God showed me is much bigger than they're literally like I have a friend of mine, my whole biggest plan was I said I always, Tyler Perry, ownership, ownership, ownership. I want to own every film I do. And I
Yeah.
said I don't want no investors. I don't want a loan. I want all of it.
To be
Thank just
yours.
right here. And
Right.
my friend, she was like, I have this one dude. He's with Peacock. He's looking for content. And I said, I don't know, but I sent him the project anyways. I said, we're gonna see. Right after that, the strike happened. And God reminded me, what did I tell you?
Wow.
Because think about it, you take it to them, is now their project. They paid for
Correct.
it,
It
it's theirs
belongs to
now.
them, but I
So,
gave it to
and I
you.
stayed the course. I didn't fight it. I didn't say, we had times where, we can go back to him and people ask me, you got any projects you want to do? And it's like, stay in the course. I remember what he told me. So that, you do
Mm,
that. And now I finally got to a place to where I can do my own. And that's what I'm
right.
working on now. So, fall in love with it.
That's good.
Everybody fall in love with it.
That's good.
No,
Adelia, I want to tell you, you're in a sweet spot.
Sweet.
And I
mm,
and I say this because when I was in the Navy, the first 4 years, I was in the aviation department, and the pilots, when they would do their practice flights called sorties, they would fly under the radar. Under the radar is where you could mess up, make mistakes, and you were not seen by the enemy because you were under the radar. And
mm,
when you're under this space of not being viral, not being famous, and this is for all of us and those listening, this is the perfect time to mess up, have mistakes, error, work all the kinks out,
wow.
because and even within your person, you know, the weaknesses, the anger issues, the insecurities, whatever
Yeah.
the things that could fumble the bag, if I can say that, this is the time to work all that out now. And we see that when we see people that do become famous and then they have a fall from grace, that it
Mm,
ruins the brand, it ruins the bag. They may not ever get back that chance, that opportunity again.
yeah.
We look at particular actor that had a physical incident with a woman, big deal with Marvel. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Whatever will happen there, that bag got fumbled. And it
Yeah.
happened in a public space. We're in a digital space. So
Hmm.
if you mess up whatever now and you have 2.2 million followers or whatever, look at what's at stake. So
Yeah.
now that we're here and we're not there yet, this being under the radar is the safest place.
That's
And
good.
there will be days you will wish you were anonymous. You can
Mm,
go out right now, nobody's bothering you. You can shop in peace, but really think about what's at stake. Like, say you're in the store, and you blow up at somebody. It'll be like, oh, some random lady was yelling in Target. Fast forward 10 years later, can you afford to
wow.
yell at somebody in Target?
Wow.
Probably not.
Yeah. That's good, Camille.
So really
Mm,
maximize this space of being under the radar. And that's all I have right now.
wow. Well, I just want to say thank you to y'all because I know this is unexpected. I hit all of y'all up at like the very last minute, so thank you for just stepping in. Everything that you added like definitely had value and really gave me some things to consider. To be honest, and put things in perspective. Yeah, go do it now, Angela. Go go yell now. Madonna
Get it
Blue.
out
Get
the
it out
way.
your system.
But no, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. They gonna be like that lady that be all in the comments of spirit and truth. Big church problems. But anyway, so 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 I just
Not
want to
my
say
auntie. Not
yeah,
my
right. But thank y'all so much. I really have a lot to consider. And you're right. Everybody on here is right. I am in a sweet spot. And when you got 75 people, that's one level of problems. But when you got 75,000 people, that's a whole nother level of problems. And so be careful when we out here wishing, oh, I want to be big and oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. It comes with a lot of stewardship and a lot of responsibility.
Mhm.
And so I'm with you, Camille. If God is allowing you to fly under the radar right now, then hang out right there. And let him do what it is that he's doing. So I love y'all so very much. Again, please get your tickets to the Sister Hype Squad experience. I one of the things that I was struggling with too was, Lord, I don't want to fumble my credibility. And God said, well, it's not yours, it's mine. And so when my name is on the line, you never have to worry about fumbling it, as long as you make sure that you're doing what I ask you to do. And so with that being said, I love y'all. I love you, Jalen. I love you,
Love
Camille. I
you.
love you, Olivia. I
I'm
love
driving down
all.
Friday. I'll see y'all Friday.
Yes, I
Stay
can't
away from the
Yes.
wait.
dance floor because I'm
Yes.
Ah, I'm
I'm
excited to see
ready.
y'all. But but this has definitely been an amazing show. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll chop it up and then delete it and then share certain parts of it. But yeah, but no, all of it was good. So thank y'all so much. Thank you for tuning in to I Am My Morning Coffee. And y'all have a this is considered the evening brew. But yeah, but y'all have a wonderful night and I love y'all. Mwah.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.